We're live. Okay, it's the Open Apps Ecosystem meeting. Today it's 24th January, and last time there was Mayel with us. I don't know, I haven't heard from him. Tibor of Connector told us that he's not available right now. Maybe Armin wants to join us because it's somehow related. I will text him directly.
I think like Federico would probably be interested in the fact that he's interested in Commons Pub, but he just started another pairing session that's like an open pairing session for Phoenix.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Federico would be great. Okay, and who else? Maybe I can also text. Shall I text? I'll do that later. Maybe Simon Mieke of Upzilla or Florence, I think, from Nextcloud. Yeah.
I think that Wolfgang was saying that he was going to make it, but maybe I misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this meeting is about federated social networks, or federated whatever. And I was working on Commons Pub, and also I tried to set up Connector locally, and I tried to understand Mastodon a little bit and follow the tutorial, which was provided by Armin. And I think I progressed a little bit, although now I'm a little bit lost. Unfortunately, the people that I would like to speak to are not here. Of course, I also always want to speak to you, Joseph, and Matt. But the people who might help me on the problems that I'm currently facing, right? Is anybody of you worked on Commons Pub or Activity Pub or anything like that?
No.
Joseph?
No.
Matt? No.
No experience.
Okay, so this is going to be more like a presentation now, what I did, and that is it for the meeting?
Oh,
I think so, huh?
It sounds like it. I mean, I'm gonna share the thing there on the Human Connection channel as well, just in case there's anyone there that wants to join us. But like, and I'm gonna hit up Federico, but I think he's not gonna join us because he's pairing on something else. But I don't think he has experience with Commons Pub. I think he just has the most experience with Elixir and Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, Matt or Joseph, do you know how to run tests in Elixir?
I've done testing in Elixir before, yes.
All right, cool. Okay, then we'll make this more productive. Okay,
I have like a repo where we have like a list of the tests, because it's been a while since I've done it, so I can like reference the tests that I've written in the past.
Yeah. Okay, so first let me quickly show you what I did in last 2 weeks. So as you all know, ActivityPub is an amazing specification to federate social networks. Now, last time we had Mayel with us who introduced Commons Pub, and I found that pretty exciting, because Commons Pub, the way how they use Commons Pub is it's like a translation between ActivityPub and GraphQL. And that's very exciting for us, because I would probably think it's better for our architecture. I talked with Armin and explained how I see our current architecture. So this would be the architecture if we would implement ActivityPub on the backend side, right? What we want to do is to implement the federated server-side interface. ActivityPub has 2 flavors: the client to server and the server to server. Okay, where is it? Huh. No, I don't want to check out the comprehensive W3C standard. I just want to see. Ah, interesting. That's awesome. Okay. Activity pub server to server versus client to server. I still don't understand each and everything. But the bottom line here is you can have servers communicating with each other. What is that? Media page. Yeah, it provides a client-server API, and it's also a federated server-to-server API. And that's the point here. And I found out that, for example, Mastodon, which is the biggest social network that implements ActivityPub, is only implementing the server-to-server part. All right. So that's what you can see here. So here you can see a couple of applications, and I also checked out each of them. Each of those applications have their own homepage or a GitHub repo, and some of them are not even actively maintained. I would say the only applications that are really relevant are Pleroma and Mastodon, PeerTube, and Dokili maybe, and I think that's it. So 4 of them. And for example, Mastodon is not implementing client to server at all. This one here, right? Which you can see here. Neither is PeerTube. Most of the applications are only implementing server to server, the federated specification. All right? Does it make sense? Joseph and Matt, do you get the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I understand the difference between client and server.
Mm. I mean, if I just check out Mastodon on my machine, you have the federated timeline, which is, I think, the server. Okay.
Hey, Armin.
This is coming from different servers now. Ah, yes, Armin. I was just explaining the difference between client to server and server to server protocol in ActivityPub.
Okay. Yes, I can tell you the client to server, this is social API. It's just for interacting from the client to the server. So to getting from the inbox your new feeds, your new activities, what you got from what is sent was sent to you, and you can also send to your outbox and yeah. And from there federate to the other servers.
Yeah. So most of the applications are just server to server, only implementing server to server protocol. And I would say for us, for Human Connection, this is enough. And we can care about client to server later on. I would like to have the same interfaces as Mastodon does, for example. And I followed a thread where Eugen is also talking to Mayel and others, and he is saying that if you would implement client to server on Mastodon, that would put heavy load on the developer of the client apps, right? Because it's not it will be hard for the developers who implement the client apps to implement this specification, in contrast to just, I don't know, GraphQL or REST or whatever. And I think that makes sense. And for us, that is my decision now. I don't know what you think about it, but I would focus on the server-to-server federation and do the client-to-server later on, maybe. And I was talking to Armin, what I think why CommonsPub is so interesting is that it's translating, as far as I understand it, Maya can probably talk a little bit more about it. It's translating ActivityPub to GraphQL. So you can use it as a new layer around GraphQL and keep the code of the backend untouched, right? And I think this makes sense from a separation of concern motivation. So with Armin, I created these two diagrams. This is how we would implement it if we would implement ActivityPub directly. So we have our backend, and the backend has two interfaces. One is our GraphQL interface, which we have already, and we have to change the backend and make it compatible with ActivityPub. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. So here's our database, and then like sits in front of it, and kind of processes the request coming in and does and transform it into, I don't know, requests against the database. Now, the way how it would look like with the CommonsPub is that you have one interface on the backend, so the backend is just one responsibility, and CommonsPub and other web clients are using the GraphQL interface. But CommonsPub would be, for example, another Docker container. And if you connect with CommonsPub through ActivityPub, it proxies these requests to the GraphQL interface. And I think this makes sense because we don't have to touch the backend code; it can stay as it is. And this is just like translator in between. And we have to provide the glue code of CommonsPub in order to communicate with GraphQL. I still haven't decided on it because I don't know how mature CommonsPub is actually, if it's possible, how big the glue code is, if it's working as it should. So I don't have any experience with it. It's currently under heavy development, and I haven't really played with it. So do you see the reasoning of it? Like the pros and cons? Right, I will share the CommonsPub server in the chat so you can all have a look. The CommonsPub server is implemented with Elixir, and I have no idea about I have no idea how to use Elixir for this. Right? And this is where I need your help.
What I don't understand is what I wrote you. We need two databases, so Neo4j and PostgreSQL for that. And how should we fetch the post? Because we maybe need to have views in the CommonsPub server.
No, we don't need views in the CommonsPub server. We don't need another database. We just have Neo4j. That's it. Yeah, a request goes in here. Yeah, the data goes from here to here to here.
Yeah, but I don't know how to. Should the client show the data, render the data, or how should the data be rendered?
So to focus on the server-to-server protocol, this here is another server. It's the Mastodon server. Yes. And this one here is a web client, which could be a browser. You can talk directly to our backend. So you're going to our website, and then the browser. So when I go to this website, the requests are going to. Oh, it's actually just the seed data. Example.org. So now have a look. Here we have our backend request, and the backend request is sending a string. It should send a string. Oh no, that's the image. Oops. This request here, come on. Why cannot, when I am not able to select the request here? There we go. Here you can see. So this is the GraphQL, or this is the query in GraphQL sent to the backend. All right?
Yeah.
For the login. I can also repeat that. So this is the backend. And just put it in here. And I guess I need a variable. So what's going on?
Expected target position 0.
I think I forgot curly braces.
Yeah.
Come on. Someone is breathing into the microphone.
That's my fan.
Ah. What's going on? Okay, so here we have some variables, and the variables are also part of this query. So what I want is that CommonsPub would just mirror the requests coming in from ActivityPub into this GraphQL interface. Okay, it must be possible somehow. So we have just one API interface, and that's it. We don't have to touch anything. And we can also, if it doesn't work, we can just remove the container and we are all good, right? We don't have to touch the backend code at all. Is that clear now?
No, that mirroring I don't understand, because when you say mirroring, then we have two APIs, because the CommonsPub API where the request goes to,
yeah,
and this is then mirroring to our backend GraphQL API. So we have two APIs with two databases.
All right, okay, I'm using the wrong term. I would say proxy requests. That's actually better. You have CommonsPub in the middle and a Mastodon server or whatever server who is sending requests, and it goes through CommonsPub, and then that is sent to the GraphQL interface of the backend, and the backend can do the rest. And the backend will have another response, talk to the CommonsPub server, and that will be transformed into an ActivityPub response, and it will go back to the Mastodon server. Does it make sense now? It's really just a translator.
It makes sense if the backend code is modified. But how should it work when the backend code is not modified?
Yeah, because we have our GraphQL interface, and the backend code is not touched at all if we want to implement this here.
Okay, then maybe. I don't understand
it. What exactly do you don't understand?
How an activity is coming in and goes through CommonsPub. CommonsPub accepts the activity, is saving it in the PostgreSQL database, maybe, and through the glue code, it's CommonsPub posts to our reads with our GraphQL API. And what then?
Why do you think that CommonsPub is saving anything to a Postgres database? Where does the Postgres database come from?
Because the Postgres database is okay. That's I've tried it with Moodle.net, and there's a PostgreSQL database. So
right.
Maybe I don't understand CommonsPub till now, because I also don't understand Elixir.
Yeah. So I think. I don't want a Postgres database here at all. So the repository is consisting of that part and that part, right? We just want that part out of the repository. We don't want MoodleNet, right?
Yes.
So they all have a folder. Yeah, there we go. So you have MoodleNet. I think that's the backend code, and you have ActivityPub, and that's the code that is relevant to us. Do you see?
Yes. The backend code, but need to be modified, because we have to save with some resolvers or whatever the activities.
No, we don't. We save. We don't save it at all. It just goes directly. A request is just transformed and goes directly to the backend, and there it is saved.
Yes.
I think like maybe the misunderstanding is coming from when you're saying we don't need to touch the back end. I think what you mean is we don't need to change the code in the back end. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be saving activities to the back end.
Yeah, exactly. So when I say we don't,
it's going to be translated to GraphQL, so we don't need to make any like changes to the code in the back end to allow us to be able to save the activities.
Exactly. So of course,
you need reservers to. Or I understand it wrong. You need reservers to have mutations, or I don't know if they're called reservers. But if you want to make a mutation, what you need to do if you want to save an activity in a transformed activity from CommonsPub, then you need a mutation handler reserver. So you need to touch the backend. Or is that wrong?
I don't know. So if you would say you want to have an interface where you can read a post from the backend, right? So you can read posts. Let me quickly do that for you. Backend system control start neo4j. What's that? Oh, that's not relevant. 102 download. Okay. Checkout master. Stash git checkout master. Pull. All right. Now I can say yarn run dev and start the server, and it should see localhost 4000. That's our backend. Well, it's not ready yet, but it will be ready soon. Now it's ready. So I can, for example, get all the posts and say I want to get its title. And I will get all post titles, which is currently empty, which is not a big problem. I'll just go to the Nitro backend and say yarn run seed.
Yes, you can get a post, but you can't save a post. Okay, you can save a post. Okay, yes.
Okay, so this is how you get reports, and you can also create a post. Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. The glue code is then to transform a node object to a post, for example.
A node object? What's a node object?
A node object is in Mastodon. If you toot a toot in Mastodon, for example, is a node object. Is represented as a node object and then wrapped into a create activity, for example.
I see. All right. So you're talking about, for example, what is my account?
I think it's user/Rochefer. There are.
Right. So here we have a JSON, and this is my profile, and the point here would be to translate that into a request to our backend. Does it make sense now?
Yes.
So no database here. It's just a pipeline. Requests go from here to there.
I think it might be a little bit confusing because if you go to like the GitLab repo, like CommonsPub does have a Postgres database, but we're not going to be using that part of it.
Yes. So, yes, that's the part that needs to be changed. We have better modularity.
It's like, if I'm not mistaken, like it's this part in the repo that's talking about using an upstream proxy for federation. Or is that different?
Yes, exactly. So it's a proxy for federation. The whole idea is to have a proxy for federation. Exactly. So they decided to use GraphQL because it's way more flexible than ActivityPub as the main interface for client to server interaction. But they also want to implement ActivityPub. But ActivityPub, there's little, there are no libraries for it. It's hard to implement it, and it's probably a lot of work. And so they think, okay, everyone's jumping on GraphQL. Maybe we just want to proxy the request and have something as a translation in front of it to make every application that is using GraphQL compatible with ActivityPub. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay, but we need to learn Elixir for that, I think, because Mael said, that the implementation of ActivityPub is not complete, the federated, or I'm...
Yeah, right. So it's first of all, it's not probably even for their use case, it's not covering all the features of ActivityPub. And it's not modular, so they still have in this repo something with MoodleNet, which we don't want. And we just want to take the part that's doing the translation, and that's it. And of course, they have a different GraphQL interface than we do, right? So their resources and so on, they probably don't have a post. They have something else. And I try to...
Yeah, they have resources, communities, resources, and so on.
Exactly. So that's different for them. So they are glue code. What I want to do is to check out what is actually the glue code in order just for the translation. So to see, okay, how much is it in here that we would have to write ourselves? So I guess ActivityPub will stay the same, but is there, I don't know, is there some glue code in here, or where is the glue code actually? That is
just for the routers where you was that's the endpoints for the Phoenix framework, but I don't think that's the glue code.
I have no idea.
I don't understand. Now the endpoints, the routers. That's in the router IX file. There's the endpoints, for example, inbox or outbox, I think. Okay, I don't know. At first, I have to learn Elixir for that.
Yeah, maybe you don't have to learn Elixir. Maybe you can also get some help from other people. For example, Matt or Joseph, who are listening right now.
Or Frederick,
who have more knowledge about Elixir.
We have an Elixir mob every Wednesday at Agile Ventures. So it's something that like I'm kind of studying every week. But like it's I wouldn't say I know Elixir. I know some basics, and it's somewhat similar to Ruby in aspects and Rails, but like, yeah, I mean, the person that's the expert is Federico, and also I sent off some messages to a couple of the contacts I have at the local Ruby Floripa because they're looking at like having some pairing sessions where they can practice their English, and I suggested that we could pair on doing some stuff with Elixir and Commons Pub. So I'll let you know what they say.
Right. So I just have I booted the container, and we have DB and web, and apparently I can now access localhost 4000, and everything all that I can do here is to log in with my email address. What was it? I don't know. I just register and let's say, interesting. I just say Commons Pub JFLE Schaefer 1234.
Shouldn't work with sending the email? Also doesn't work.
What's going on now? The database doesn't exist.
You have to create it on the link. There's a create above comments above.
Thanks.
Yeah, create database.
There we go, and then migrate the database.
It looks like it's saying to migrate and then drop it. Like, no, I don't think that's supposed to be.
No.
The last command is not to be run sequentially.
you maybe want to change the README and put that somewhere else. It's not not supposed to be used in succession.
The most logical place for it.
Now, I should get in a console now and run that command. There we go. And let's say exit, quit. That's it. Okay, cool. Okay, kill. Still on? No. With code 0. Okay, interesting. I would really like to run the tests and see how that works. Now I'm logged in. Cool. And there's the API at API GraphQL. This will also open up a GraphQL playground. So that's their interface, their, let's say, custom or proprietary interface of their own particular web application, because they're using GraphQL. I can now, for example, search for communities.
On the right, you can see the docs, what you can do.
Comments, no, maybe ID. Okay, and here you can see the community. So apparently this is interesting because it has ActivityPub in the URL. Yeah, I know the docs are from GraphQL. And I thought maybe I could just type that in and get a JSON from it. Like this would be the ActivityPub interface, but this is a 404 error on the server, as you can see here. Right, so that's my question right now. And I was asking Mayel in our Rocket chat, and he just replied. Nice. They're doing a hackathon.
Nice.
Are you in the chat?
Where's the Hack Lab at?
Joseph and Matt, are you in this chat?
I am, but I kind of am not really in the habit of going in there.
Joseph, are you in there?
No, I don't have Rocket chat.
Do you want to be invited?
Yeah, sure.
Where's the link? Is there a way how to get the invite link from Rocket Chat directly? I'm putting that into, where's our Slack? Or maybe in our Discord. Discord is good enough, I think. You're in our Discord, right? I think you're sure. Oh yes, there you are. There you go.
What kind of tests are you particularly interested in? Unit tests?
Other tests. So what I can see here, if I search for test, each of the files, sometimes at least, has a test file. Okay, what happens when I search for test?
Like on our directory, it's like it's at the root level. There's like lib, priv, and then test.
You say it at the root level. I don't think there is a test at the root level.
No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, because you're in lib. Do you go back one?
Oh yeah, right.
And then you have like the Moodle. You have the net and the net web. You know. Oh, but you're interested in the activity web. Yeah.
And I'm not. I don't know how to run the tests.
It's like mix test.
So I have to
test. Yeah, you can run mixed tests and that will run all of them, or you can, but you need to have like, you probably need to have something started like in, I can't remember if it's Phantom.js. I think it's probably Phantom.js. And you're doing it inside Docker as well, so.
Shouldn't be a big deal, huh?
No, it's probably just using.
So this gives me an IEX console, and what
Yeah.
I have to do now?
Well, you could try running mix test, but
Just like that.
yeah. No, I think that you don't do it from inside the IEX console. Like you can do it you can run the test with IEX, but like.
Can someone help me how to?
It's just Control-C twice.
Good. Yeah, what I'm supposed to do?
Here's the documentation from the hex docs. The hex docs are quite nice if you've never checked them out. I guess like you would probably preface it with Docker compose run --rm, and then the name of the service. I'm not sure. You've been running the commands already. So running your.
What happens when I just put it in here? Mix is not
you can try it.
Maybe it's supposed to be DB? No. Exec web. So that's where I'm right now. So I'm struggling with. Oops, no, that's definitely.
I mean, wrong. What are the you have Docker Compose, right? What are the name of the what's the name of the service that you're trying to run the tests?
It's called web. What I can see here is we have the service, and they are putting in bin/moodlenet, whatever that is. So
this
lib maybe grab bin modal. What the heck? /moodlenet.
I mean, I can try. Like the reason you're running things in Docker is because you don't have the dependencies locally.
Yeah,
like
I don't have no, I don't want to set it up on my machine. Please not.
I mean, I can clone it and run the test locally because I have all that stuff set up.
Oh yeah, right, cool. Here's the link. Do you have a GitLab account?
Yeah, I've already grabbed the SSH that I need. So git clone.
Oh, yeah, I just pasted the link for everyone else.
Yeah. Joseph's dropped off. I don't know if he's dealing with issues.
And maybe in the meantime, Armin, do you get a better understanding of the desired architecture? Is it now
just a bidirectional transformation from the objects or from the activities to posts and back?
Yeah.
Back. But in some way, we need also to save them because there are create activities, there are update activities, and
I think we save them in the same way.
The post is updated or just created. Maybe we could just wrap them in a create activity and say there's no update for us.
If you have a request to ActivityPub that creates resources, that's writing anything, you transform it into a request to the backend, to a GraphQL request that does the mutation, and that's it. That's all you need, because the rest is the responsibility of the backend. The backend is able to create posts. The backend is able to create users. The backend is able to create notifications, likes, comments, and so on. You just have to make the glue code that transforms the request coming in from ActivityPub or through the ActivityPub interface, turn that into a request of GraphQL, and then you're done. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. Does it make sense?
Yes, but yeah. Yes, but some information I should think about it. Some information may be needed to be saved because some yes.
Yeah, some information needs to be saved, but that's the responsibility of the backend. Everything that's saved goes to Neo4j. Everything that is saved goes, if everything that goes to Neo4j is going through the backend, we will have no direct access to Neo4j for security reasons. You will have that never, right? There's just one player, and that's the backend that has access to the Neo4j database, right?
Yeah.
The backend is like a protection of Neo4j. It's doing all the authorization, all the authentication, and everything. And the single and sole interface to the backend, how I want it to be, is the GraphQL interface, because that's the most flexible interface that's currently on the market. And there are multiple libraries that help you to set up that interface. So GraphQL is our primary interface. And then you have, additionally, you have another container that can proxy requests that you send to the container and proxies them to the backend, to the GraphQL interface. Does not have access to Neo4j directly, right? So the request is just transformed into something that the backend understands. So backend and ActivityPub, they speak different languages, and you need a translator in between. But the translator doesn't save anything. It just proxies the request to the backend, and that's it. And the backend will do the rest. Does it make sense?
Okay, and objects are received through the IDs.
Yeah, there probably needs to be some transformation happening. So if you have an ID, which is a number, an integer coming from the backend, for example, the Commons Pub server or our Glue code can then put the URL in front of the ID, and the URL would be the URL of the Commons Pub server. So you're really talking to the Commons Pub server through ActivityPub, and you don't see what's happening in behind the Commons Pub server, right? Commons Pub server is doing is playing the middleman.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the architecture how we want it to be. Of course, I'm not aware how Commons Pub server is implemented. It's custom code written by somebody, and it's not as mature as, for example, all the libraries that are out there for GraphQL, right? So Apollo is an amazing library for GraphQL, which we definitely want to use that. We don't want to use anything else. Opening another interface on the backend separate to it, I will show you the diagrams once again. So the other solution, so this is the solution, the ideal solution I would like to have to be. So you have this thing here in between as the middleman, and you have just one interface to the backend. Whereas the other solution would look like you have two interfaces on the backend. Right, so you have ActivityPub and GraphQL, and the backend has two responsibilities. First, listening on our GraphQL interface to our own web clients, and having the ActivityPub interface next to it. And I don't know, I mean, this is the traditional approach, but it's opening another interface on the backend, and it's always a security risk, it's always complexity, and I just don't want that. I want to avoid it if possible.
And you also, like you were saying, you need to change things on how the backend operates, right? Like you need
exactly.
To change.
We have to change code. We have to change code here in the backend, and I don't like to change code on the backend. I don't want that. If it's avoidable, I would like to avoid it. Do you see the plan, Armin?
Yes, I see the plan.
Cool.
You need to transform.
Exactly. But there's no Postgres database, no nothing. We have to take out some pieces of the code of Commons Pub and leave the rest as it is. Just make cherry picking.
All the collections and so on, that's all Commons Pub.
No, the
collections.
The collection pub, the collections and communities, that's MoodleNet business logic.
No, I mean from ActivityPub, there are also collections, like inbox, outbox collections, and so on, following.
Yeah, so we have to think about how to map the ActivityPub specification to our custom resources, right?
Yes, and that's the transformation part. So
that's the transformation part. That's how I understand it, right? I'm not into Commons Pub so far. I also don't really understand ActivityPub. It's just my current high-level understanding of the architecture. And now I'm watching Matt how to run the test in Elixir.
Well, yeah. The thing is that this is one of the reasons why you like doing things in with Docker, because I have Postgre, I have Build Essentials tools. My Elixir version was 1.73, so it needs to be like 1.74. And then I've reinstalled it to upgrade it, but now it's upgraded to 1.8. So now, before that, I got to the place where I was able to run the mixed-step skit, and then I was able to start running the test, and then it went through and this is what it'll do is compiling it.
Great. Here. Okay, this will take a while.
You could use apt cache policy and pick a package, or just pick the right package with apt install package name equals version 1.74-1, I think.
I don't understand.
Then equal, then 1-74-1.
-1?
Yeah, I think that should work.
Yeah, that's okay.
Find package.
Could you try apt cache policy and the package name?
Shall we postpone it? Shall we postpone the debugging? I will just ask Federico how to run tests, and that's it, and have a look into the Docker service. And
well, I mean, yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, he's going to tell you the same thing I'm telling you, is that you run tests using Docker Compose, the name of the service, and mix test.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to know the name of the service. If the service is web that you're trying to run, then you do Docker Compose. Run --rm web mix test.
Matt, I think he was on the right side. There was a dep package. I take this, and then I could install this version. It was on a side. You were on a side. There were dep package 1.0 and then .dep also. Before seconds before you was on the side on a web page.
Here.
Not this one, not this one. I think you had it open, and there was a package. I installed this one, and after that I could yes, here.
Erlang, yeah, I have Erlang already.
Sudo
I did that.
dpkg, and then the -e. Erlang Solutions 1.0. This one, I mean. And after that, update and then install. Then you can install the right version. What do you want? W at the beginning is missing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I should have all this because I already have Erlang. If you look here, I did the update. Then I successfully upgraded Erlang. Then I successfully installed Elixir, upgraded Elixir, sorry, but it upgraded to a later version. So I'm not sure if yeah, we can definitely have a look at it later. What I can do is now that I have this cloned and I know the dependencies, I can get it to where I can run the test locally.
Yeah.
But I guess that doesn't really help you so much because you would and they didn't say anywhere in here how to run the test with Docker Compose.
Yeah, I think I know the reason why. Let me screen share for a second. So I just found this. So it's the Docker file. Oh, what's happening? Ah, okay, there we go. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
So looking into the Docker Compose file, this is the service. It's apparently building this Docker file here. And what we can see is that there's also mix here. So apparently we are on the right Docker container. They have mix, the command mix.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, they're doing multi-stage builds.
Yeah.
Right, and at some point, and I think this is the actual, the final image, and it doesn't have mix anymore. So
right.
What they need is another Docker Compose YAML where you build this stage where you have everything, all the development dependencies, and you can run the tests.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll probably send in a pull request and where that allows me, who's not installing Phoenix or Erlang or Elixir on my machine, to run everything from within the Docker container. And also run the test from the Docker container.
Trying to run it now.
It's 3 o'clock. Shall we stop this meeting for now then?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm desperately looking for help on that, right? If anybody is interested in running or working with Elixir, please get in touch.
Yeah.
Is there what do you think there's a way of reaching out to the Elixir folks at Agile Ventures, helping us out on that?
There's an Elixir. I think there's an Elixir channel. Let me just double check that. Oh, cool. Oh, yep, sure. Just need to pick a date and time. I've never heard of Commons Pod, but Moodle.org. Nice to know. It's all like that. Are you wondering to use it for something? Yeah. So my contact at Ruby Floripa is keen to pair on it as well. And he's got more experience. Like he's probably got a similar amount of experience as Federico, maybe a little bit less. But he's been using it in his job like full time for some time. You know.
Nice. So it has a lot of merit to work on that because you would not only help us or Moodle, but you also would help the world, right? Yeah. I think the idea of Commons Pub is great. It's going to the right direction, and it would help every application that has GraphQL as the primary interface, but also wants to be compatible to ActivityPub, right? So you just spin off. The idea is to have one Docker container spinning up, and there you go. Your application is ActivityPub compliant. All you have to do is to provide the glue code, and that's it.
Yep, you sold me.
Nice.
I will. So I guess like to turn it into like an action item because like so this guy is available after 7:30 p.m. UTC. So when would be a good day to try to schedule with him for you?
So if Evan's 7:30 p.m. UTC, 8:30 p.m. UTC on 8:30 CET, my time, which is okay. I'll have to talk with him in the evening.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I will not have time tonight, but I will definitely have time maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, and the weekend. That's also okay for me. I don't mind working
him and see when's good for him as well, and then
but
hopefully worst case scenario at the beginning of next week.
Cool. Shall we wrap up then?
Yep.
Nice.
I think so.
Unless Armin has more questions, or you have more questions, Matt?
No, I am. This gives me some stuff to do.
Cool. And we see each other probably on 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. UTC for the open source meeting.
Yes.
Nice.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.